I know that section 10.3 can get a little bit confusing and that you might be stuck on the homework. So I wanted to give you a few more examples of problems like the ones on the homework so you have something to look at if you are confused. So on each one of these problems, you are asked to do four things. You're asked to list any sets of congruent angles that are either given to you or that you know must be congruent because they are overlapping angles, vertical angles, or angles formed by parallel lines and a transversal. You are supposed to test fractions made from corresponding sides to see if they reduce to the same thing. In other words, check to see if you've got proportional sides. You are supposed to tell me which test for similarity you're using. Angle, angle, side, or side, side. And then if the triangles are similar, you're going to complete the similarity statement. If they're not similar, you're going to write not similar. So here's our first example. You can see that you've got two overlapping triangles right here. So the first thing that you should do if you see overlapping triangles is to draw the two triangles separately. So I have done that. Here are my two overlapping triangles. I have labeled the side lengths as they were given to me in the diagram. So the first thing that I'm supposed to list are any sets of congruent angles. So I don't see any angles marked on the diagram as congruent. So the next thing I want to think about is, are there any angles I know must be congruent? Anytime you have overlapping triangles, the two triangles will share an angle. And in this case, they share angle B. Angle B is literally the same angle in both triangles. So the first thing I'm going to write down here is that angle B is congruent to angle B because it is the same angle. I don't know anything about any of the other angles though, because I wasn't told whether these two segments are parallel. If I knew they were parallel, I would be able to look for corresponding angles, but I don't know whether they're parallel. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make some ratios out of matching side lengths. So first I will do my shorter side over my shorter side. 54 over 64. And my brain doesn't want to cooperate right now. So that comes out to be 27 out of 32, 27 over 32. If you wanted a decimal on that, 0.844-ish, just so you get an idea. Then I'm going to do my longer side over my longer side. So 72 over 84. That's 6/7. You don't need a decimal, but if you wanted one, that's about 0.857. So these are not the same number. They're close, but they're not the same number. 27 out of 32 and 6 out of 7 are not the same number. They're different. Okay, so that tells me right there that these two triangles are not similar. That's part of step 4. But I am going to need to say which test I used. So what test did I use? Well, look at whether you knew about sides or angles or both. So 54 is a side, angle B is an angle, 72 is a side. 64 is a side, angle B is an angle, 84 is a side. Side, angle, side, side, angle, side. The test I used here is side, angle, side. So this right here is what you would have been expected to write down for this problem. So whenever I see an X in there, the first thing I think about is, oh, I've got vertical angles. The angles across from each other in an X. So I can see that angle FHG is congruent to angle UHT or THU, whichever you prefer. So there's my only set of congruent angles. I don't know anything about any of the others because I don't see parallel lines. If I saw parallel lines, then I would. But I don't see parallel lines. So I'm going to test the sides instead. So shorter side, shorter side. $55 over 33. Divide both by 11 and you get 5/3. Longer side, longer side. $70 over 42. Those can both be divided by 14. And you get 5/3. Oh, hey, those are the same. So what have I just tested here? Well, 70 is a side. I've got an angle in there. 55 is a side. I have just tested by SAS. So since I've got a congruent angle and two sets of proportional sides with the angle in between, I have similar triangles. Now it wanted me to go in the order HGF. That was along the pink side, then the not highlighted side. So that would be triangle HTU. So along the pink side, then not highlighted. Along the pink side, then not highlighted. HTU. Overlapping again. Yay, everyone's favorite thing. Let me draw them. So I've got my two triangles. I'm going to go in and label them. So the smaller triangle has sides of length 45, 40, and 70. The longer triangle, make sure you add together. So 36 and 45 is 81. 40 and 32 is 72. And 126. Now you actually have a choice on this one. You do have all three sides, so you can test side, 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 but you also have, hey, we've got an overlapping angle. So you've got angle J. So you can either do side, 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 or you can pretend like that side isn't there and do side, angle. Side, angle, side if you want, or you can do side, side, side. It is up to you. So I'll write it all down. So we can do angle J is congruent to angle J because they're the same angle. If we're testing the sides, so let's do shortest over shortest. 40 over 72 is 5/9. Middle over middle, 45 over 81. Those can both be divided by 9, and that gives you 5/9. And longest over longest, gives you 5/9. So all three of those reduce to the same thing. So again, you can either do SAS like that, if you ignore the 70 and the 126, or you could just do SSS and ignore the angle. And it wants me to do angle JK, triangle JKL, so triangle JBC. This one's pretty straightforward. I only have information about angles labeled, and they are two sets of angles that are the same. I have a 61 degree and a 61 degree. So angle S is congruent to angle C. That's given to me. Just write given if it tells you on the diagram. And 71 degrees, 71 degrees. Angle T is congruent to angle D. That was given. Okay, I don't have any side lengths to check, so just write NA for sides, or something like that. Okay, well, what did I have? I had angle, angle. That's the test we used. So naming this triangle CDE, blue, red, nothing. That will be similar to triangle STU. Last example here. Again, none of the sides are labeled, but I do have information about angles. So this angle is 30 degrees and this angle is 30 degrees. So angle B is congruent to angle T. That was given to me. I see an X. Anytime you see an X, you're going to have vertical angles. These two angles are congruent. You can't name them both angle A. They've got to have 3 letters. So angle BAC, BAC is congruent to angle TAU. And why? Because they are vertical angles. All right, don't have any information about sides. What test did I use? Well, angle, angle. Let's see, ABC, red, blue, nothing. is similar to red, blue, nothing, ATU. So there are some examples for you. I hope that that gives you a better idea of what you're supposed to be doing on the homework.